Welcome to News Hour. I am David Patrick Kamara. Coming up in this edition of News Hour, African leaders begin this year's China-African Summit in Beijing. Residents of Kweyadu village in the Tankoro Chiefdom, Kono district, complain of the absence of basic amenities. Staff of Lincoln University go on a sit-down strike. And the State Minister of Health, Labour and Welfare in Japan is in Sierra Leone to inspect Japanese inspected project. More on those stories and more lined up in this edition of News Hour. Welcome back for our first story tonight. African heads of state have begun the China-African Summit in the Chinese capital Beijing. Addressing leaders, the Chinese president said China does not invest in vanity projects in Africa but will help the continent build its infrastructure. President Xi Jinping said he will pledge an extra $60 billion for the continent's development. China is the single largest bilateral financier of infrastructure in Africa at the moment, but critics warn that African nations have been going into unsustainable levels of debt with the Asian giants. Mr. Xi admitted that there was a need to look into the commercial viability of some projects and make cooperation more viable. China's cooperation with Africa, he went on, is clearly targeted at the major bottlenecks of development. He told business leaders that resources are not to be spent on any vanity project, but in places where they count the most. Residents of Kweyadu village in the Tankoro Chiefdom Kono district have called on the government to provide them with social amenities such as health center, school, water facility, among others. Kweyadu village is where the 709-carat diamond was found. The locals made this plea when SLBC visited the village. Maria Masuma has more.
This is Kweyadu village, home of Pastor Emmanuel Momo, the man who found the 709-carat diamond in 2017, the second largest ever from Sierra Leone since 1930. Members of this community say they are yet to benefit from the proceeds of the diamond sale. According to the villagers, it has been more than a year now since the diamond was found, but they are yet to get any benefit from the sales. Assistant Town Chief Safia Senesi appealed to governments to support them alleviate poverty and improve their health condition. The community lacks adequate school structure, though government is planning to roll out the free education in September. Pregnant women, lactating mothers and children have to travel for over 5 miles to access the nearest health facility. The women's head of the village, Sialebi, confirmed this to SLB.
The thing that is affecting us in this community, we don't have health care here. We have pregnant women here, and they have to walk from a far distance to access the facility. And that is very difficult for a pregnant woman because the road is not motorable.
The place no fine.
Mining and agriculture are the main sources of livelihoods for the people here, but diamond, according to them, has unfortunately failed them. Youth representative Daniel Bao, like many other villagers at Kweyadu, had hoped to see a change after the diamond was found in their community. But their hopes have been dashed, as Daniel said they cannot point at anything good about the living standards so far, not even the road leading to the village.
Well, this is how it looks like. Kweyadu village is the village where the 709-carat diamond was found in Sierra Leone. The most talked about diamond in Sierra Leone. But as you can see, this is the exact road leading to that particular village. And yet still, residents of this community have been crying to see a better road leading to their community.
He said their source of water is an unprotected stream, which normally leads to diarrhea.
Well, sometimes, like when, because this water can dry in the dry season, we get side and we swamp them.
This is where we fetch our drinking water. Sometimes in the dry, we find it very difficult to survive because we have difficult activities surrounding this water. And when the water gets contaminated, it will lead to diarrhea.
May to June. They get diarrhea. Most people they get diarrhea first.
He said the community school caters for only 130 pupils, ranging from classes 1 to 5, but the school is in a very bad shape. A 6-classroom block and a staff quarter project were under construction, but were stopped by the Minister of Mines, Dr. Mori Mange, and the Paramount Chief of Tankaro Chiefdom, PC Bolgabasakwi. According to residents, the work stopped because of poor construction. He said the other children used to go to Koidu town to attend classes, and that most times they get involved with the boys, which leads to unwanted pregnancies. Sierra Leone is well known for its diamonds, but sadly diamonds have made little impact on the lives of its people. In the 90s, this precious gem was used to fuel the war. Artisanal and large-scale miners have found many big diamonds, but little wonder whether the communities where this mineral is found have really seen any benefit from their God-given resource. SLBC TV, Mariama Suma reporting.
Local members of staff of Lim Kong Queen University of Creative Technology at Hill Station have staged a peaceful protest against the college's administration. According to them, the management of the university is not living up to its responsibilities. Lim Kong Queen University is among the new private universities in the country. Principal lecturer of the university, Sheku Putka Kamara, explained more about their actions.
Sierra Leonean staff members of the Lim Kong Queen University of Creative Technology have decided to table a whole lot of things happening in the university that are not right. And we have now resorted to take a strike action, which actually started today, Monday, the 3rd September 2018. But then it has to be made clear that we did not just go into a strike action. Things did happen in the university, and that is what informed our decision. Among other things, Sierra Leonean staff members at the Lim Kong Queen University of Creative Technology are very aggrieved at the fact that for 2 months, our salaries have not been paid on time. We consider that very unfortunate, and it is something that is not in the best interest of our workmanship. Now, secondly, it would interest the general public to know that the Sierra Leonean staff members are being contacted by an agency which is known as the Excel Management. They are in charge of recruiting all Sierra Leonean staff members as far as we know it. Now, as we would know, whenever we have an issue, it is expected that we talk to Excel Management. Sadly enough, the management policies of Excel have been questioned in the sense that they've not been doing things in the interest of the staff members. Now, how did I say this? Now, there was a time when we did write a letter to Excel Management to table some of these grievances. It will interest you to know that Excel did not in any way make an attempt to solve our problem. Now, we did share a letter to members of the public and did copy various ministries, departments, and agencies. That one, our salaries are not always being paid on time. And secondly, there is a disparity in payment of salaries between Sierra Leonean staff members and foreign nationals. And when you look at qualifications and experiences, it is our conviction that we have Sierra Leonean staff members that are far more qualified than other foreign nationals. But when it comes to salaries, we see the latter getting the better. And that becomes a problem. And these are some of the issues that have resulted to us taking the strike action.
That was Principal Lecturer of Lim Kong Queen University, Sheku Putka Kamara. The Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry has commended MR Distilleries for adhering to its corporate social responsibility. Reverend Abraham Sisi Jones was speaking at the commissioning of the submersible water wells at Wellington. Thomas Neal reports.
At Wellington have every reason to be joyful as they can now access clean and safe drinking water in their community. The Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Reverend Grievances Jones, said access to safe and clean water are among the key priorities of the new direction, adding that it is also the felt need of every community. He said such a gesture complements government efforts and call on other industries in the country to emulate MR distilleries. The Deputy Minister used the opportunity to explain about the trade policy, which he said is geared towards improving the business climate in the country. He said the ease of doing business in the country is part of government policy, which is to attract more foreign investors. Giving an overview of the project, the head of media and communications, Ibrahim Jaffa Konde, said the community has been deprived from having safe and pure drinking water for quite some time, creating more reason for the construction of the well. He said the World Health Organization considers access to safe drinking water as a basic human right, adding that 1 to 2 billion people in the world lack safe drinking water. Mr. Konde said they will continue to support the community in other areas. The Councillor, Ward 405, Mohamed Toli, also thanked MR Distilleries for ameliorating the suffering of the community. He described the venture as laudable and called on the community to take ownership of the water well.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
The State Minister of Health, Labor and Welfare of Japan, Hideki Mikikara, has called on the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Nimatulai Bacheng, at her Taoyil office in Freetown. The Japanese State Minister is in the country to inspect Japanese-funded projects in the country. Hana Tukonte filing this report.
State Minister of Health, Labor and Welfare of Japan, Hideki Makahari. His visit was to deliberate on international global issues and to further strengthen the bilateral ties between the two countries and to further broaden Japan's continued support to Sierra Leone, especially in education, health, energy, water supply and agriculture. The minister explained that a Japanese company has expressed interest to invest in pineapple plantation project. He informed Mrs. Bachchan that they are looking forward to Dr. Ali Kaber's participation in the Tokyo International Conference on the African Development Ministerial meeting in Japan. Welcoming the team, the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Nimatulai Bachchan, said Sierra Leone cherished the relationship very well and also thanked the Japanese government for the support that it has been rendering to the country, especially during the Ebola and the mudslide, in addition to their support in health and agriculture. Highlighted some of the key priorities of the new direction which the government is poised to deliver. She assured the Japanese State Minister of her ministry's cooperation with the Republic of Japan in enhancing the 5 pillars of the new direction. Meanwhile, the Japanese delegation also paid a courtesy call on the Vice President, Dr. Mohamed Julde Jallo. The Vice President said their visit was a stepping stone to further deepening the existing bilateral relationship. The delegation also visited the Ministry of Tourism and the Princess Christian Maternity Hospital.
The government of Sierra Leone, through the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry, is continuing its tree planting drive to other parts of the country. Technical staff from the Forestry Division and the Director of Forestry have returned from Moyamba District, where the National Tree Planting Campaign was also carried out. Harold Williams has the details.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry has expanded this year's ongoing National Tree Planting Drive to Moyamba District. In Moyamba, the importance of tree planting was portrayed in a community context. Trees were planted to mark the boundaries of the cemetery at Moyamba Junction. The task was allocated mainly to youths of the area to continue planting, but members of the Timber Association were nearby to also help plant the trees, which were mainly Tectona grandis, a large growing timber variety. Nearby in Kasue, the Forestry Division delegation evaluated the site, which had been an outpost for production activities when forest cover was more abundant in the previous century. Now, however, the Forestry Director, Mr. Umar Lee, noted the degradation of the site, which still maintains its research potential. The Director of Forestry told community representatives to adhere to principles of forest co-management in which the government and local residents cooperate jointly. Forest co-management is particularly relevant in the Kaswe Forest Reserve, which is the country's most dense patch of forest, located between the Moyamba and Tonkolili districts and shared between the Yoni, Falkunya and Keri chiefdoms in the center of the nation. Forestry Director Umar Lee remarked on the good progress made to restore this largely deforested area of 9 square miles. Evidence of 3 years replanting and conservation were seen in the height of the forest cover and the absence of encroachers. Deputy Director of Forestry, Xar Kelly, told the forestry delegation to witness the potential for ecological tourism in the area. Wide, flat plateaus offer opportunities to see the beauty of the nation's interior through hiking, birdwatching, and other nature expeditions. Kasiwe is just one of Sierra Leone's 49 forest reserves managed by the Forestry Division.
Operation Pushback has been relaunched by the Freetown City Council to reduce street trading in certain streets in the Central Business District. As the Freetown City Council relaunched the operation, many citizens in Freetown have doubt as to whether the new operation will not die like the previous ones. Cynthia Kamara filing this report.
In previous years, similar operations like Operation Pushback had been conducted in the country, like Operation Weed, Operation Must Abide, and Operation Free Flow, which was officially launched at Parliament by the past president. This is the second time that Operation Pushback is being launched, but little or no success was made in the past due to some political influence between traders and authorities in charge. Koma Hassan Kamara said this operation, among others, is new but unique, and that their Metro Police officers are working closely in line with Traders Council in order to implement the strategies. She added that the construction of the new market is ongoing, so all this implementation is just for a while for the city to be free, since we are expecting visitors and tourists as we approach the holiday season. There is a 500,000 leones or 6 months imprisonment for any defaulters.
The pushback operation is not a new phenomenon, but this one is unique. The difference there is that we are doing it in connection or in line with the Traders Council. That means the traders themselves, they have a structure there. So we're involving them so that they can help Freetown City Council to implement the strategies put in place. We want to ensure the immediate intervention of these streets as we approach December, where we'll be expecting holidaymakers, we're expecting visitors, tourists, and all the rest.
Fatmata Jajwa explained the positiveness of Operation Pushback.
Operation Pushback is a good initiative. I am happy about it. For this reason, I will comply. If the country takes another level, it will benefit everybody.
Seller of electrical appliances, Abubakar Siddiqui, spoke on the importance of Operation Pushback and how they wish it will continue.
As a citizen, I appreciate the introduction of Operation Pushback because it gives space for people to walk freely and for our customers to see our wares.
As the Freetown City Council dislike street trading.
The National Concern for Development Sierra Leone has concluded a public awareness drive on the free education, which is to begin in September. The team visited Kenema, Bonth, Moyamba, Tonkolili and Potloko districts. Let's join Soriba Samura for the details.
Education, they say, is the key development of any nature. Few weeks ago, President Julius Maada Bio pronounced the free quality education package to the nation to start in September 2018. The reason the National Concern for Development Sierra Leone has embarked on public awareness raising on the content of the package of the free quality education in Kenema, Bonth, Moyamba, Tonkolili and Potloko districts. In Pandebu of Dama Chiefdom in the Kenema district, the paramount chief Alhaji Kuwai acknowledged the venture taken by the National Concern for Development Sierra Leone. He described the initiative as a very good step by coming closer to deprived communities and get them to understand more about the free quality education package. The Member of Parliament of Constituency 017, Brahma Mansari, Kenema District, was happy to see young people shouldering and complementing the effort of government, and that as politicians they will continue to encourage their people to send their children to school. A member of the community, a 33-year-old NPSC candidate Fuad Dembi, also described the public awareness campaign as historic to let them know the content of the free quality education package. The project manager, National Concern for Development Sierra Leone, Hassan Sise, appealed to the government to support deprived communities with social welfare programs. The Deputy Director of the National Concern for Development Sierra Leone, Augustine Chibao Kuruma, urged the people in the 5 districts they visited to send their children to school.
This free quality education is a clear or a great hope for Sierra Leone to succeed, to develop. That's why we as an organization, we took up this manship to sensitize people to know exactly what entails in this package of the free quality education.
He informed them that any parent who refuses to do so will be punished according to the law. The Member of Parliament of Constituency 077 in the Potloko district, Abdul Kabo, described free quality education as timely and noted that the country's educational system is poor because of poor leadership in our homes and communities. He called on all stakeholders in the country to support the president to succeed with the free quality education.
You're watching News on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation with me, David Patrick Camara. Now for the latest on the success of the Cricket Under-19 team, including other stories, let's join Esther Marie Samura for the latest in sports.
Good evening and welcome to Sports Update. I am Esther Mai Samuel. In this edition of Sport News, Sierra Leone Under-19 male cricket team won silver medal in the just concluded International Cricket Championship Under-19 World Cup qualifier in South Africa. Nigeria won the championship after defeating Sierra Leone in the finals, with Sierra Leone progressing to the African Division 1, where the Sport Desk has been compiling reports.
The delegation departed Sierra Leone for South Africa earlier August to acclimatize with the weather condition in South Africa, where they trained intensively and progressed to the finals. Sierra Leone was in Group A with Tanzania, Botswana, Rwanda, Zambia and Swaziland. The boys reached the finals of the ICC Under-19 World Cup qualifier after defeating Mozambique by 71 runs. The team took the field in the final against Nigeria at the St. West Park in South Africa, where they lost to their Nigerian counterparts. Despite the loss, Sierra Leone Under-19 boys still qualified for the African Division 1, which means that the team is only one tournament away from representing the nation on the biggest stage, the World Cup. The next stage of the tournament is due to take place in March 2019 in Namibia, with the World Cup being held in South Africa in 2020.
And Sierra Leone delegation in Ethiopia to represent the country in the the African Cup of Nations qualifier against Ethiopia, which will take place on Sunday, 9th of September 2018. But that's all in sports for tonight. I am Esther Maisama. Thanks for watching.
Many thanks indeed to Esther Marie Samura for the latest in sport. Well, to end the news, the main points again. African leaders have begun this year's China-African Summit in Beijing. Residents of Koyadu village in Tankoro Chiefdom, Kano district have complained of the absence of basic amenities. Staff of Lincoln Queen University have begun a sit-down strike. And State Minister Health, Labour and Welfare of Japan is in Sierra Leone to inspect Japanese inspected projects. Well, that's all in this edition of News Hour broadcast live from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation in Freetown. On behalf of the news editor Asmiuba and David Patrick Kamara, good night.